Right.
feel relaxed there.
All right. Beautiful to be back. And it's been, I think, I don't know
Oh, I
how,
have to do.
I
Go
don't,
ahead.
I don't
Yeah.
know how long it's been, Fem, since we did the last one of these.
Hello, Lee.
Can you hear me? No, it's gone already. This is recording. It's recording now, Fem. Oh no.
Perfect.
Connection's unstable.
Yeah. Yes, but
And I was just
let's
saying,
see what happens.
I was just saying, I don't know when the last one we did was. And I think it was last Christmas. I think it was about January, February last year. So it's been
Yeah, possible. Yeah.
it's been a year plus. So wonderful.
I think even longer ago,
Could
but it
be.
doesn't matter.
No, it could be.
We are here now.
And a lot of things have happened since. And I know that for anybody that does watch this, we've tried so many times and we thought about it so many times and discussed so many times another connection, another Fem and Lee show. And it hasn't come up until now. So pivotal moments, my beautiful sister. We are in a place where we can connect together, record this semi-live, and discuss what's been going on.
Yeah, I always love to connect and to share with you. It's like, yeah, it's nice. So let's see what comes up.
Yeah, and we've got no basis, we've got no start point. We're just going to openly discuss what's coming up. And one of the things that we've seen is free will and choice. These have come up as topics, let's say. So let's just start openly about free will and choice. From wherever we start and take that upwards. So where are you on that, Fem? Where are you on free will and choice? Where are you on decisions and these sort of concepts that are prevalent across many? What's your
it feels it feels there is for me like how to share that. For me there is no free choice anymore, even that I can choose. Like what example I use is like Femke likes to be in Thailand with Lee under the trees with Rick doing whatever we need to do, but I don't feel it. Yeah, so it's so it's not what I need to do. I'm on a mission, connected, doing what I need to do, but it's not like the Femke anymore who wants something. It's like what needs to be done. So there is a moment the free choice is taken away, even that I can choose. Let's say now I'm gonna book a ticket or whatever. Just an example is, but I don't feel it. So it's not what I need to do in this now or where I need to go in this now. I need to be here in the now, even that. Yeah. So if that's a little opening to go into the.
In what you're saying, right? Again, this is what I've witnessed and experienced, is that in what you want. So you would, you just said that Femke would want to be in Thailand and whatever. But Femke can't be. Now, the reasons why Femke can't be, you've just outlined. You're on a mission. You've got other priorities. So you reprioritize things. Now, your choice would then be really to be angry that you're not in Thailand and therefore resentful where you are, or acceptant of where you are and not angry in the slightest. So if you thought
not angry, because
go on.
If I would be angry, that means that I'm doing not the thing I need to do,
Right. But if you thought you had free will, then you could justify being angry. I want to do that and I can't, so I'm not happy. So I've got free will and I can't choose what I want to do. So therefore I've got a reason to be angry. The grace comes from the release into it. That's later. What I want doesn't matter. There's something more important.
Yes.
And that's the higher truth. Is there something more important than what you may feel you want? And so realistically, is there any choice? Is there any free will? Or is there only the highest choice?
The highest choice, because otherwise it would, yeah.
Again, this is where I think I've experienced some of the fight and some of the resistance is in taking the highest choice, which seemingly goes against free will, or remaining with free will and chasing what would be seen as a lower choice or a more self-based choice. So these concepts are there, and this is some of the resistance that I've certainly witnessed. Is the obvious truth is there, the higher truth, but there's a resistance to taking that choice because there's a feeling that there should be another choice, and that choice should be around what you consider to be fun or pleasurable, or all these other things. That should be what I choose, but I'm having to choose this as if it's lesser, and of course it's not. It's higher. It's more.
But we also found out that if you would choose, I called it like an escape. I'm in that space and I would choose, because Femke wants to have, say, fun, then I would choose something from the old, like doing something that made me in the past having fun. When I choose that to do that, I don't find the pleasure or feeling the feeling anymore what I had in the past. So after doing that like 2 times, I realized it's a run away from the situation, I guess. So it doesn't work because there is that is not there anymore. So you go back into that surrender and just surrender and be and know that of course everything is perfectly fine, and just be in the moment. So there's a moment that when you realize that then you are kind of also pushed in that moment of being in the now, because there is only now, as we know, but there is no escape anymore. Even
the thing I find with what you're talking to there is that what used to be real isn't real anymore. That it's transient. It gives a quick burst of pleasure, but it doesn't satiate anything anymore like it used to. So these lower choices or lesser choices, they're not lower choices or lesser choices. They're perfectly accurate. They're perfectly beautiful in the moment. It's only from the observational point later that they could be seen as from somewhere else. In the moment, they're not. They're perfect. So whatever choice.
But you have to, sorry, at least sometimes I have to interrupt, because then I have to give you, because they are like experiences you have to experience to embody the to experience, to know that it's not there anymore. And if you don't experience it, you don't embody it, or you don't
absolutely
know it. You have to go through all.
I totally agree. I've spoken to many about unnecessary events that are very necessary for the one undertaking them. They're only unnecessary from the observer, but from the one that's doing them, they're very necessary to have that experience. The only thing that I can recognize from my own life, from my own experiences, is I had the same experience many times before I realized that they were all the same. And that's where we deny what we've done in the past. We still believe the past was standalone brilliant, and it wasn't. It was transient and very loose, and it was an escape. But in the moments, we still believe that, and we don't question it. We don't look to another option. We don't look to the invert option. So I want to have some fun. What if fun was never allowed? What if you could never have fun again? Ever? What if fun, the concept of fun, was removed absolutely from your mind, and you were told you will never ever have that concept of fun again? Do you think then that you would never have fun again? It's just that you change what it means. So through all of these experiences, we change what they mean to us. And if we hold on to what they used to mean and try to do them again, they haven't got the same meaning, but we want them as if they're real. And this is the philosophy about it. It's very deep, and everybody's correct.
Yeah, is there not also like that you come on a point where, I mean, they are all like experiencing like negative, you have positive. So when you are like mastering all the negativity, so you are not experiencing the negativity anymore, and you have only the positivity, it's like it's like you go back to that neutral again. And when you go back in that neutral and realize that you have not that deep negativity anymore, and also not the high positivity, then you come in a space where you, well, when I enter that space, it's like, okay, so that's very neutral and very boring. And of course, boring is a label, and it's like not the word boring as used in the old or still now. It's not that boring, but it's like that space of nothingness. There is no line connected to anything anymore.
I see it again with this. It's very different. I see that neutral space is beautiful because I sit in neutral, but always in the highest positivity. I don't need to sit out there having fun or pleasure or these ideas and concepts that are transient from others to sit with absolute positivity and joyous bliss from a place of neutrality.
Yeah, but then maybe I label the positivity as the positivity is still in the old. You know, you have the old negativity and the new
experience
of the old. Yeah, that kind of positivity, like bubbly, like party, like that one. That's gone. So you are in that space, and again, it's not the negativity sense of the word boring. It's neutral. It's all perfectly fine. It's surrender. It's divine. It's I'm here and I trust, and whatever needs to happen will happen.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no resistance then to conceptual ideas of what I should or shouldn't be doing based on the past. It's just doesn't matter. And therefore judgments from the outside in, you're not doing this.
Because it doesn't work like that anymore.
No. And one of the things I speak to with this is what's called the essa, or the essence. So rather than the experience, rather than the act and the actions, it's what the essence of those actions gave. So the energetic underlay, the underpinning essa, what they, the taste of the orange, not how it's built, not how it's constructed or how it grew, but what does it taste like? What's the pure, what came out of it? And once you can take the essa out in that neutral space, then you don't need the experience. You've still got the essence, the taste. You still know the lessons. You've still got the energies.
Yes.
Without you don't need the experience to go there or to go there and do this and do that. You can anyway. And it's then you don't need to go. So I don't need to experience negativity to see negativity. I don't need to experience positivity in that way to see and be positivity. But now I can choose from a place of neutrality where I stay, because the essence of the experiences is what's been embodied, not the experience. So I don't need to go skydiving to get the thrill of that. I can go into the energy of that, the experience, the essa from that, from a different experience, and feel that if when I choose to. So these things change. Would you agree that the whole way that we look at things and do changes when you embody the essa, the essence, not the experience?
Totally.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to describe or very difficult to explain. And, I don't, whenever I'll just say openly, whenever I speak now, I speak to things for the first time I've ever spoken to them. So what I'm saying to you now, Fem, is the first time I've said this. It's not something I've got stored, and it's a diatribe. It's between us in where we're going. This is what is coming to me from what my experiences are. So it allows me to see more of what it is that's going on by having these conversations. So thank you again for jumping on board again. It's new. All of this is new because we're digging. So, and that's best way I can describe it. So how much are you seeing in others that they are judging still from a place where they believe that they're not?
Well, if I would share that, then I'm the one judging. So
no, you can state fact. You can state fact. You can state fact. You don't need to judge. You can just assess. There's no judgment.
No, I just noticed that. No, but I think we need to speak that out, because we are speaking in so many different layers of consciousness. So
assessment versus judgment. Okay, let's look at this very, very, very simply from my perspective and see whether you agree. To assess a situation, there can be no emotional connection to it. There's no need to justify an outcome. There's no need to call right or wrong. You simply state what it is without right or wrong. That's what happened. and I evidence it with the energetics of it and where it comes from in a mechanic of the biorhythm of what it is that we're doing. So judgment has an emotional impact. It's a right or wrong. I wouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. Assessment is that's what they did, or that's what happened.
Yes, but when we start sharing about it, then it's maybe good to open it to say, like, you know, that, like how you explain it, so that it's not going to be maybe received as a judgment even.
I've learned that how others perceive what it is that I say is none of my business, and they're always going to see it their way.
True.
So,
yes,
true. It doesn't matter what I say. Some will see it judgmentally as a judgment, even though it, you know, I don't. It's up. Yeah, I know my truth's my truth, and their truth is theirs. I'm not going to say they're wrong. They're the same as, you know, they can tell me I'm wrong, and that's okay. You know, I know my truth. So if there's no emotional input, if you're in a neutral, properly neutral position where you're not emotionally attached to a right or a wrong, it's just an assessment of what happened or what is. And there's no judgment.
Well, no. So in neutral saying, and it's neutral because I'm observing. So you meet souls and you interact with them, and it's like, how do you say? It's like you meet them, but you can. Sometimes it's so difficult in linear language to explain things, but I will try. So you meet, you speak, and you share things, and it's like you look through it, not through the person, but it's like you experience the you sort of reading them. Is that the way to say it? So
I believe that.
So you feel things, when people are saying things, you feel sometimes that it's like head knowledge, but not coming. So it feels like they are saying things out of the knowing from here, but it's not experienced here or embodied here.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's superficial.
So then they,
but I think what you're trying to say, because I was walking back last night with my friend, and it came to me to say to him that all I do, I look at what I've done from a higher energetic point of view through my experience, and I see what others are doing aligned to what I did, and how I manipulated and how I controlled and how I relayed and justified situations. And I've spent a lot of time digging into what it is and the mechanics of what I did and why. So I can look at what I did with complete forgiveness because I didn't know any better, and therefore assess what another's doing from what it was that I was doing with no blame, just this is what's ongoing, this is what's happening. Now I can also then look at what happened after what I did. So this is what I did, and how did I come to terms with it? Well, I did that, and that released that, so it gave me more. So this is what I can do for them. So the assessment is what I did. You know, it's my experience orated in a way that they can reference. I'm not without yes or no, without right or wrong. I see what you're doing because I did it, and this is what I did, and this is the energy of what I did.
Yes,
and then they will personalize it.
Yes, and that's why I'm also grateful that I went through all and still go through all the layers. So that's why when you meet another soul, and they speak and you feel, so you can see where they are, or because I've been there too, you know. So you
recognize it, you recognize it. See, we've in reflection. See, I call it recognize. Change the cogs. Recog the brain. So in recognizing my experience, I can recognize it in another, and therefore it's not, you know, there's no, if I was judging me, you know, if I could judge my past, then I would be judging them.
Yes.
And therefore
but you understand it, you see it, you understand, because you were there too, so you experienced too. And that's why I'm so grateful for that, for the beautiful, like,
See,
awakening journey, Jacob's ladder, whatever, you know, like every,
for many of,
because you can,
what was I going to say? Oh bugger! I've lost the. There was a good point to this. Realization, release. No, it. There's the beauty is in what, you know, when you start to embody a lot of this, then you start to release all of the past completely, and you realize that the past made you what you are. Now, how can you fault what any of the past was then if it made you what you are? Therefore, what they are doing is making them what they will be. There's no fault. And therefore, it's not a judgment. It's not right or wrong. It's just, this is, you know, can you see? It's like a gift of sight. You're giving them a gift of sight. And that's in that respect, it is. And there's no ego in that. It's a gift of sight. And it's from a place of neutrality or purity. And there's many descriptions of this that are completely sort of inverted. They still have disharmonics within them. There's a lot of the spiritual community has knowledge of a lot of this, but it's misused from a level of neutrality. It's not misused from the one that's using it, but from a level of neutrality, it's not being used in the positive terms. It's being used as a mask. Now, we can all take a screwdriver and use it as a hammer. You know, it's not like it, you know, we can all take a different tool and use it in a different way, the way it wasn't designed. Now, that is misuse at its basis. That is abuse of that piece of equipment. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like it's negative. It's just a fact. If you're going to use a hammer, not a screwdriver. If you're going to use judgment, you know, use the truth, not a fakery behind it. And of course, when you release these layers, you realize what other things you were using to hide things from you, to deceive. And of course, this is that breaking down of these layers, is the release of those disharmonics. You don't need to use a screwdriver as a hammer. You can use it to undo screws. You don't need to use spiritual truth as a guard. You can use the truth to do the, you know, the actual truth. You don't need to hide behind things and just grab whatever you can. There are better tools. Just take a breath and go and find them. These things aren't, again, in these moments, a lot of people are I'm still seeing quite a lot of reaction, let's say, as opposed to response. What do you think to that? Or have you seized? Okay, let's see if this keeps going.
yeah, I'm still hanging in your share with. Hello.
Hello, you're still just about. I'm giving it a second, Fem, until you come back.
Oh.
You're back.
Yes, so you asked what, yeah, I was still hanging in your share about the tools, like, but if I understand you right, I mean, everybody, even if they use the hammer for a screwdriver, they need to use the hammer to find out that the screwdriver works better, you know? So it's like everything is perfectly fine, and we can give them another tool or immediately the screwdriver, but they will reject it because they still need to go through the using the hammer. I mean, and there is a moment that you realize that it is so simple, you know, that, but if you knew that before, you didn't go through all the experiencing to realize who you really are, what you are, and that it is so simple. It's you connected straight and follow your guidance.
Perfect. And it's what I was going to say a minute ago, which I forgot, was about empathy. You brought in empathy, and for me, again, from my connections and what I know, empathy is me seeing them through their eyes, through my own experience, in a neutral way. So I can empathize with where they are because I was there, without judgment, because I've released it from myself. So the pure thing is right now I can give you the correct. I can see what tools I used later, and I can give you them now. And I know you won't use them because I know I wouldn't have, but they're there for you now. So it's like true empathy. It's like real. You know, you can, you know, if you want to hit despair, you want to hit anger, you want to blame me for everything. Okay, I can empathize with that because I did. So I'll stand here and I won't give you, I won't fight you on it. I can release that and let you. I won't take
because you're in
No, terrible connection. Go on. Say again. Oh dear.
yes, and with yeah, and it's not only with souls we meet. Oh yeah, that's not only with souls we meet. It's also for me. It's for everything because you hear me or not?
Um,
Woohoo!
I
Just let me know. Smoke.
turn your camera off for a second, Fem. Turn your camera. Oh, that makes it easier. So I think we've actually now swapped sides. And for anybody that does watch this, there's probably a minute of intervention, and now it's been 15 minutes of no internet. So something divinely jumped in at that point and went, nope, that's the end of that. And I think now I used to be on that side of the screen, and now I'm on this side. And so if anybody does watch this, that's what's happened. Divine intervention, and now we're back, and we've just been talking, and neither of us really know what we were talking about before.
So,
So
it is divinely meant to open up a new subject
yeah,
or
yeah.
another. Yeah.
So we've
So
talked enough about that. Now let's talk about this. And I don't know what this is. So come on, Fem, over to you. Whatever comes in, and then we'll discuss that.
what came in is like, let's speak about different timelines. Hey, like it's like observing different timelines, different truth, different. Even there's on the end one truth, but still in the different timelines, different consciousness, different truth change. Truth will change in every layer of consciousness, but also on like timelines.
It's well, we're seeing we're two or three. I'm still in between. I like to say it's two, but there's a possibility of three. A triumvirate of timelines. But we're seeing two major ones and offshoots of those, which seem to be other timelines, but I don't know as they are. I think they're just offshoots of the two main ones. How would you describe what we call colloquially the lower timeline right now, Fam? Would you not? Well, what would be your observation of it as an overall energy and with what's ongoing in it?
Well, it's very interesting. Oh, that is it, because even in that timeline, there are so many different layers of, yeah, you can say consciousness. Because speaking lower timeline, you have the whole, and they call it movie going.
Yeah.
So when you like observe the timeline, I know that it is a movie, because it is all fake. They are all, everything is one big lie too in that movie. I mean, like the people you think are dead, they are not dead. People you think you are watching are not the ones you think you're watching. So we know, but in that timeline, there are also like people who still know the truth, not that truth, but know the truth, and go into the timeline of that they think there will come a war, even that it is a kind of a war, but it's not a war, but it's like part of that movie. So building up to a scary event or whatever to get everybody out of their sleeping programming, like the ones who really need to have that wake up, I guess. But even in that timeline, there are so many You know, like even awakened ones who still think Putin is a bad man. I think, oh wait, you have to have another layer in that timeline because what, you know, it's like it's just
One thing that I can say, see, when you break a lot of this down fundamentally, you can't have gray area. And I know that lots of people like gray area. They're binary is yes, no. They like to be in the middle. Gray area create complication. But when you break all of this down, so truth, again, we've got this concept of what truth is, but realistically, truth must be the truth everywhere. You can't have a truth over there and another truth here and then both be truth, because if they're one's immoral and one's moral at a different level, they can't be. So they can be truth in the moment, but they're not fundamental truth. But what is fundamental truth is that every experience, for it to be true, must micro macro. So everything from the basic atom or the basic molecule to the galaxy to the universe holds the same truth. It can't be a different truth for the molecule to the universe because everything's fractal. So all of what I call now a biorhythm, or what would be termed algorithms within computers, the algorithm, how it works, how it's programmed, the biorhythm of life has to have a fundamental truth. And so what we can witness in the lower timeline, we must be able to witness in the higher timeline. Otherwise, it's a judgment. It's not a truth. It has to be witnessable all the way through and represent itself all the way through. So those that are believing negative beliefs in the lower timeline are represented in the higher timeline. Those that take the story they are being told and extrapolate it how they will, Trump or whatever, must be extrapolated in the higher timeline, where people are believing a lesser belief because it gives them a sense of a comfort. So we can see with the spiritual community, you've got the same stories being believed, i.e. people are believing the beliefs, the external information over their own truth. And you see the same thing in the lower timeline. So it's all scripted and being played back. We can see a story in the lower. We can see the same being played out and represented in the higher, let's say. And all it changes is people's concept of knowledge. So in the spiritual community, for instance, you've got a concept of spirituality. In the lower timeline, you've got a concept of reality. They're only concepts. They're only belief systems, spiritual belief, reality belief, different types of belief where one's believe something outside of them. And that's what they play with. So we see the same things happening. Those that will believe something, but not trust themselves. So it doesn't matter which timeline we look in, what's the essence of it is the lack of their own truth. Ones do not hold a truth. They hold external ideas. And so that extrapolates. Yeah.
So that's, it is like as within, so without. So yes. As how I observe it is like everything that is happening outside on a lower timeline, it's going the same with the collective, but inside, I mean, everything needs to be seen inside and also outside. So you go again through all the layers and the outside is going with it, because what's within comes up, every shadow comes up, every dark, call it dark shadows, whatever, needs to be seen so it can make space for the new till you realize so
be released. So the lower timeline does a good job of hiding what needs to be seen as if it's benevolent. So in its obfuscation of the truth, in its deception. The higher timeline does the same thing with alternative ideas and alternative truths and superficial spirituality and pseudo metaphysics. And all of these concepts are the same as the lower timeline. They give false beliefs to people and people believe them.
So is that not still the lower timeline? Because in the higher timeline, it's just the pure, clean knowing.
I don't see many yet that are pure, clean and knowing. I see lots that are believing they are and still carrying older concepts with them and still carrying disharmonics with them. That's no fault. That's just an observation of where we are right now. Is it higher? Is it more than it was before? Yes. Is there any, I'm not demeaning this or I'm just stating that that's not my truth right now, that I don't see that purity yet. I see ones attempting to be and feeling that they are and believing that they are, but not holding a fundamental truth. They're holding one that can change to suit the situation, to justify why they did something and defend an action and see a wrong or right, rather than acceptance and grace. See, with the higher knowledge, once you embody that, comes acceptance and grace. Not fight, not anger, not resistance, not blame, not judgment. All of those things are no longer embodied. They're no longer there. There's just acceptance and grace. Now, you know, what we can see is many working towards that and walking towards that, and many believing that they're maybe more pure than they actually are. And that, you know, we all did. I did. I've done that all my life. I thought I was right. Fundamentally, I was completely opposite, but I wasn't in the moment. I'm happy with that. You know, there's no judgment on that. Thank you, Leif, for going down that route of pride and prideful justification. It's only ego. It's only survival. There's nothing wrong with survival. There's nothing wrong with the ego until, you know, it does its purpose until you upgrade it. I see many people, many I observe, many believe they haven't got any of that, and they've done all of that, and then evidentially they haven't. Okay, so we can all, I thought the same. I thought I've done this, I've done that, and then find out I hadn't. And now
because if you we are still here, you know, so I think there are always you like, I think when you enter that space, what we know and experience more and more, but we are still here. So we are still here, we are still doing something. So when you ascending, because then it's done in this reality, I guess. So we are still like switching, like one day, 2 days, I'm like, whoa, like, you know, like, oh, like we call it sitting under the tree and just be in that beautiful. It happens when I go in nature, you know, I walk and then it's like, that's like you connect with everything and you see everything, and the love comes and the tears come on your, like magic happens. It's like, wow. But it's like, if you stay in that space, this body can't even handle it, you know, because it's so much that I sometimes, when it happens, it's like if this is like the bliss and the love and the this body can't handle it, hold it, because it's so we are still kept also a little bit, you know, grounded. And
love you, fam. Love you for what you're bringing.
It's beautiful to experience it like more often and often, and especially it's the nature what does it for me, because or you meet a person, a soul that is like so resonating with your energy and yours, or you feel the pureness, the cleanness, the deep connection, that you see each other and just like tears come out and you have to hug each other, and you're just like, we call it home, you know, even that we don't, you know, it's not from this.
I'm gonna openly say it. If you know, for anybody that does watch this, we spent a fair bit of time together over in Holland and Denmark, and Bem and I, we've gone through transitional moments. That's that.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it was, yes. You know, as I'm calling them that, where other things were there to be seen. We allowed each other to see other sides of things in moments. You know, it's never it was this without judgment and without holding on to it, without the blame. And these processes are unusual. With many others I've experienced a continuation of the process, a continuation of the disharmonic. But with us, it's always been I talk about it openly, freely, transparently, and not holding on to anything. Now,
no, we're not gonna speak. We're not gonna speak to each other for a week, you know, because, you know, or we no, because it's just what it is. And if everybody could do that, just speak their truth without like that.
But one of the things
energy of
you can speak your truth, but at a point you must be able to admit that it might not be your truth. Now, this is one of the things I found to be the hardest with others, is showing them that what they're believing which is real, it's very true to them, is not what happened. It's their perception of what happened and their perspective.
And that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah, but but then you get the, well, I believe my truth, I don't believe yours. And then there's no room for movement. There's no room for a common ground. You're just going to defend what you think you saw. And no, I'm saying that's not what happened. Okay, we're going to go nowhere. But if you can, okay, empathize. This is where empathy comes in for me. If I can say, I see your truth, and I do recognize when I would have seen that too as a justification, but that's not what happened. So I can let you have your truth. I'm not trying to fight your truth. I'm just going to say, I don't accept it. This is mine.
Yeah.
No, yes. And we can have that discussion. And of course, that leads to us all seeing more from different angles. We've discussed many times the difference between the feminine and the masculine role. Now, we didn't discuss that because we were trying to get to that. We discussed it from, I think this and you think that. And if we both sat there with, I'm right, we would never see that we're both right. So but we can see that we're doing the same things differently. That doesn't make us different. It makes us doing the same things differently. So we can see that I can see it from this way, you can see it from that way. It's okay. We're doing the same thing differently.
And Lee, imagine if everybody could do that, then it is unity, harmony in love, because then everybody can just be and just accept one and each other wherever they are, or however they think, whatever they do, without.
I try to, this is what I do all day long, is imagine that. No, create that, not imagine it, create it.
It's what's going to happen. It's what's going to be.
Well, it's got to be. That for me is the inevitable outcome of balance, harmony, chaos to peace, whatever, however you look at it. That will be the way it is. It's not something that's fake or pseudo or is a utopian idea that we'll never reach. It's a fact. It can be no other way. It's physics. So even if we can't see it now, let's start bringing it here now. Let's bring that.
We are seeing it, and we are most of the time, I can say, we are doing it. And if we are not doing it, we will point each other on it. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, guidance, nudging.
Guidance. Yeah.
This is again. Let's take it into unconditional love. What's your opinion of that?
My opinion of unconditional love, why I use the word, is that I love every soul of light, even if they are like standing in front of me with a knife, or they are killing somebody there. When they are a soul of light, I love them because I know that it's their experience, that it's their, that there is a divine reason for it, that they are doing it. So and you ask me unconditional love, I love every soul of light, even if they are projecting shit on me, even if they are like whatever it's not it's their business. It's their story. Of course, I will observe it. I will see what it does with me. I will go into it, but it's like, I love them. So that for me is unconditional love.
Perfect. Now, do you allow yourself now? Do you tell lies?
No, I can't anymore. Right. I can't speak.
Do you accept another when they tell you lies?
I will not. If I know that it's a lie, I will. That depends. If I see through it, it's their experience. They are doing it, so it's their lie. It's like not mine.
No, okay, so, that's fine. Again, so this is only again. Please don't take this as more philosophical about the concept.
Yeah.
I get the idea that I love everybody too. Everything and everybody, but I don't accept. And I don't tolerate certain things within me anymore. I don't accept, if I was lying in the past, I don't do that anymore. There's a lot of things that I will not do because they are less than the truth. Now, I love the individual, but I don't necessarily love the disharmonic. I love a guitar played beautifully, but I don't listen to many that are out of tune. I choose not
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
So at this point, you've got this unconditionality, which is another spiritual terminology, where everything must be accepted with love. And as I've just said, do you love a liar? No. Do you love an out of tune guitar? No. It's still a guitar. I love the guitar, but let's tune it. Let's not accept the out of tune one. Let's not accept the disharmonic one anymore. Let's not tolerate it for tolerance sake, because we've been told to from the outside. When we
Just
don't
turn off
tolerate
the
this,
radio. I
right,
just I just
but
turn off the radio, but I understand what you mean. But I think also when you are like in a kind of vibration energy, you will not even attract a liar anymore, you know?
well,
You will not
this is
attract.
what I'm going to say to you openly now is that many do to for their, some people call it tests. I call it opportunities to experience. Now, have you learned not to accept lies yet? If a liar keeps lying to you and you keep accepting it with tolerance,
No, I don't accept it. No,
no,
no, no,
you
no.
don't. You don't. You don't.
No. Yeah.
But this is where, again, I'm trying to show that there's a difference between unconditional love. You can still hold that, and an intolerance, i.e., a wiser love for that which is unacceptable and intolerable. It's the same as we were talking to earlier with judgment and assessment. People get the concepts and try to blend them together as if they're two of the same thing, and they're not. One's emotionless, one's neutral, one comes from a place of neutrality and a total love, but a lack of acceptance for that which is disharmonic. And
so
it's not the unconditionality, the way it's taught, the way it's interjected through the spiritual, is that you must love everything, including evil, including darkness, because that's what you do. That's not true. When you're doing it at a wiser level, where you accept it's there, but you do not tolerate it and you do not wish to recreate it. So again, can you see that there's nuance in this?
Yes, but there's also a difference between the dark, like the minions with no soul of light. You will not love them because you will energize it and keeps it in your reality. And we're going to a reality where that can stay.
For a lot of people, I'm experiencing this too. I can't necessarily I will not judge another as a minion or darkness, because unless I know. So I have to assume that they are of the light, everything, unless they're obvious, right? So,
well, I speak about the obvious one, like in the movie or in the whatever, in the lower timeline, you know, like. But
no, I'm talking to. I mean, the ones I'm speaking to are of the higher consciousness ones that still carry disharmonics, that still utilize old programs.
Yeah, but then you see them again for where they are and how they are and who they are, and that's their journey. So it's you observe it.
Yes, but there's also the non-acceptance of it and the non-tolerance of it and the speaking the truth to it, rather than, you know, a bit like a child having a tantrum. If they get given the sweets because they've had a tantrum, then they'll keep having tantrums to get given the sweets. You're better off saying, no, you don't get it that way early, than you are tolerating it and then having to deal with it later on. It's just call it out, you know, call it out, state the truth earlier. That's not the truth. It may be your truth, but it's not the truth. This is, have a think about this. Have a think about it from this way, and let them be, you know, let them go out and think about it. But if they then maintain that and they keep repeating that, it can no longer be tolerated. It's not of love.
No, but that vibrates out of your, because they feel it, you feel it, so it will on a natural way just go out of your.
That's why I'm so pleased with those that still stay around me. they haven't vibrated away yet. Maybe never will.
Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe it's everything is possible. I mean, I was surprised for many ones who came and then it was all and then vibrated out, or just turned around or dipped down and just flabbergasted, that it was like, wow, you know, like you spoke it out so beautiful, and now you even the basics you lost, you know, like what's going on here. But it's you know,
it's pseudo.
I saw it all. It's like
it's very interesting. And again, with no, just observationally, this is what we can see. I can certainly see, and it's not at one level; it's at them all. Well, not all of them, but it's at a lot. You know, the harmonics, the balancing, the out of tune versus the tune, and it can be very small, but that stands out like a sore thumb. When you're, when you as you raise and release the bigger stuff, which is supposedly the bigger stuff, and still keep some. Then as you raise higher, that sum that you keep stands out much bigger than it did before. It's others see it, it comes out and it's pointed out. The guidance is pointed out. If you believe this, why are you doing that? I said about this basic choice where everybody's got a basic choice. The first choice everybody's got, there's only choice everybody's got. This is, it doesn't matter who you are. Are you eternal, infinite, and divine, or are you not? Am I just a human, or am I more? Am I God, or am I not? It doesn't matter. It's that basic initial perception of yourself, of your truth. And if you're making a choice based on you being finite, then we can point that out. That's not, you're not making that from a level of I am infinite. You're not taking the I am choice, you're taking the I am not choice. No fault with that. There's the easy path, and there's a path with more stones, or there's the path of least resistance and the path with more resistance. And each time we choose a lesser path, which isn't lesser, it's just we believe that it's the truth. We believe that it's the best choice, but we're choosing the one that says, I am just a man, or I am just a woman. I have to work, and I have to earn, and I have to do this, and I have to do what society tells me, and I have to do what I've learned. If we take that path, then it's going to cause some problems. And
yeah, but they need to be taken, because it will bring you to the truth, or the embodiment that it is not anymore, and that will come by going through it. But also divinely, you will be assisted by it, because there will be a moment, and then it's just. I can use an example with the passport thing. You have, or tax paying. It's like you realize there's a moment that it's corrupt, but you're still paying because you do. Then there is a layer coming, like, okay, I don't want to pay anymore, but I get all the fear coming up, so you have to go through that. And there's some layers till you realize that you detach totally from it, head, body, energy, everything, and you realize who you are, and you say no anymore. You're not going to pay, because you know what but then you feel it, so you don't do it, so you stand in it. It's the same with passport.
That's actually the same. That's one of the mechanics. So that's the basic mechanic of each layer. And what I call it is negotiation. We negotiate with ourselves through the process how much we can do, and basically it's all based on self-doubt and unsure. You're not sure, you haven't got the trust yet, and you have negotiation. You release a little bit, and walk towards it, and when you can trust it, you embodied it, and then you move to the next layer of negotiation. In the next release, and how you do it. So it could be about money, it could be about paying this or paying that, or having a house. Doesn't matter. It's the same. Each level is negotiation. You walk in, well, I can't do that, it's too big, and then you negotiate what you can do until it becomes that's it, and then you can embody it and trust it. The point being, you do the same thing again on the next layer, and don't realize that the actual release of the layer was the trust. The release of the layer was not getting to the end of your negotiation, and your negotiation is happening within you. You don't have to negotiate. You can just pretty much go straight to trust. But we can see that the experiences we have are the negotiations. So, and we don't have to have 10. We don't have to have 20. We could have 1 or 2. But generally, it takes a lot more before we have enough. And then we say no more.
it's releasing layer for layer, layer for layer. With every layer, something comes up. So then you just let it go. And then it's with everything. It's like then you are at that moment that you know that it's like,
Yeah, but each layer is the
no.
same. Right? So if you fractal
Yeah.
the layer, the layer is, see, everything's fractal. So each layer is the same as the whole. So if we say that, you know, if we talk about something that was difficult to release, it's the same mechanic inside a layer that was easy to release. It's just we trusted it more. We didn't hold on to it. We didn't resist it. We had less fear inside one layer. We got rid of that quicker. The other layer could cause us a lot more fear. We hold on to it, and the negotiations take longer. And this is all done, you know, the game plays this for us. The biorhythm gives us this as we require it. And this is what I mean by that choice. Now, once one takes the choice to experience and then comes back to that point again, and they choose the same experience again, and then comes back to that point again, and then chooses the same experience again, about this time, I am no longer guiding, I am dismissing and non-tolerant of them anymore, of their choices, because they've had the experiences and they've had the negotiations, and then still choosing that same path again. And they still want to share their disharmony with you.
Yes.
As if you're going to believe them, so that they believe they're doing the right thing, and then can offset some of their anger towards you. That's where I'm talking to this thing about unconditional love being. If you love them unconditionally, then you must not tolerate them in any way, shape, or form, because you love their higher aspect. You love the soul. Well, what's performing here is not. What's performing over here is a lesser version that's making choices which are not harmonic with where they will be. So if you love the soul, then you must speak to the soul, the higher version, and not tolerate this.
No, I know what you mean. Yes.
It's again very difficult to describe and explain.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah.
You see.
But I also noticed that when you describe this situation, I notice when it happens in my experience with ones, that there is a natural way that it happens away. So without me having to confront or activate them with what they are doing, because most of the time they know they are doing so, they know, but they are not speaking about it, but they know, and they know I know without speaking, because it's the way we interact. And then they will ebb away for a while, and then sometimes they come back. And
I know.
and then and then it's still the same. And then, you know,
one of the things I notice about this is we've got different roles. I mean, you do yours so beautifully, and I'm you know, considered blunt or a hammer in these ideas, but that's just our different roles. So I openly show, state, observe, assess, and of course I'm called all sorts of things from the outside, and none of that impact. But and others don't do that. They do it differently. They do it from their own intentions or it doesn't matter. We can all see it. I just talk about it. Others don't. They deal with it in different ways. But what we can fundamentally do is agree, and it doesn't matter how we portray what it is that our characters are. Do we agree on the fundamentals? And if we can agree on the fundamentals, then we've got common ground. And once with that common ground, then we can all work from that point onwards. So one of the fundamental agreements for me is, are you God, goddess, infinite source energy? Are you divine and eternal, or are you not? And if you can give me an answer on that, I know I am eternal. Okay. Then fundamentally, every choice you make must be based on that. You must base your choice on you are more than this. And therefore, if you don't base your choice on that, it's behest to me to point that out to you, because I love you. And if that causes anger within you, beautiful, because you've got it there to be seen. If it causes release and grace and an education or an upliftment, beautiful, because you've got it there to be seen. It doesn't matter what happens. But I can remind you of the agreement we've made.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I sort of look at a lot of this. Of course, it doesn't happen that way in the moment. There's a lot of negotiation. But fundamentally that agreement can be made. If you believe that you are more, then you must embody that. And of course, at this level, there's programming inside that says you are less, and that's the concepts we keep pushing out.
Then there we come again on the journey, the layers that everybody. And some are going fast through it, some are going through every layer, and some are waking up in one blink of an eye, and others, there's also difference in. So ones get it and they will take the tools and they work with it, and others, they are not ready yet and they think, hey, I will go that way for a little bit, and but everybody has the truth is in there. Every soul of light has the truth inside, and it's up to them when they start to. You have to make that. There you still have that free choice. You have to make the choice to go into it, and
ignorance is bliss without choice and free will. I love the concepts of ignorance is bliss, even though I didn't really understand what it meant. But really, when you don't know this stuff, it's blissful, but you're in a complete lie, and it's going to tailspin and drop down. So you can make free will choices when you're ignorant, and there's nothing wrong. And I'm not saying that ignorance isn't a definition of somebody who's stupid or this, that, and it's not that. It's if you haven't seen, you can't see what you haven't seen. So there's no fault with being not seeing. What there is, I can sort of look at an assessment of once you have seen it, and then you deny it. That's different. Denial is different to ignorance, but there's still, all of this is tools to hide behind. But with ignorance is bliss, you've got all sorts of free will choices and all sorts of choices that you want to use, because there's no cause and effect. There's no karma. There's no nothing. I can do whatever I want. That's not strictly true when you start to focus what it is that you want or what it is that you are. So there's this idea of dilution, where when you're, let's say, ignorant of other stuff, and we all are. I'm ignorant of many, many things. Don't get me wrong. We all are, because if we all had the truth, we wouldn't be here, the fuller truths. But we're diluted. There's a lot of dilution around. There's a lot of distraction and dilution. And of course, when you concentrate, there's just a very small ball of truth. You don't need all the rest. And that's
no, but to realize and know that's why I always say with the tree, stay in the middle, stay centered, straight connected, like
concentrated,
connected, or
focused,
close to yourself, and then go into the branches, but don't stay there too long because it distracts. Always go back to the center and know you are the I am. You are connected straight with source. You just stay close to yourself and follow your inner guidance. It's actually that simple, but there are so many.
It becomes so complex, but this is what's called proximity to the self. What you're talking to there is proximity to the self, and that's the etymology of the word transcendent. Transcendent is proximity to the self. It's less dilution, closeness to the self. Transcendent. Existential existence is outside of the self. So everybody believes that they are in existence. Of course, that's eternal. If you transcend that, you come within. And
by going through all the experiences, because as we spoke about in the before, like having fun in the past, and we just did it because we were also like we were also in the sleep, even that we knew that there was more, but we didn't. It was not divinely time to break out of it, so we just did that too. So
the beauty is what we're talking to here is experienced by everybody, and is being experienced by everybody. It's not, there is no negative. There is just purity. There is just observation of what is, and a realization that there's a lot more going on than maybe we used to believe, and there's an acceptance of that. There's actually a seeking of what's called the opposite of epistemological agnosis. Epistemological is the theory of knowledge. Knowing, gnosis, what is knowing? Inner knowing, not that stuff on the outside, but really what you know from the inside, like you're just talking to, proximity. That's epistemology, the theory of knowledge, wisdom. wisdom, experience and truth. Wisdom. That's what everybody's yearning for, but everybody's fighting and resisting. It's kind of like this duplicity, this paradox. You get the wisdom, but you don't want it. You don't want to hear it. You get the truth, sorry, but you don't want it. And then you have to walk into it to experience it before you realize it's the truth. But many are taking knowledge.
So then you are planting the seeds. Yeah.
Yes.
And the seed, the seeds will stay there till they remember, and then it will start to grow. When I
reflect back from my drop into the dark pit, if you want, and some of the what became obvious straight after that was that I had many signposts, street signs through my life, and there were these things that were said and I'd ignored, I hadn't paid attention to, but when I did pay attention to them, they all lined up and I could see. So with those, what I try to do when I'm speaking with others that may be resisting or fighting is I give them a signpost. I know that they'll probably not see it in the moment because I didn't, and that's okay. I ignored them, I denied them, I did all of these things until afterwards. So if I can give them what I ignored when I was doing it, they don't have to take it. It's fine. But later they will, and later it will let them sign dum. It will let them see quicker. I'm not trying to speed the process up,
or maybe not,
or not. It doesn't matter. But I know from my experience that I saw them afterwards there.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter whether I didn't or I missed them. It doesn't matter. When I'm trying to speak to another, I can give them a signpost, and it doesn't matter whether they do or don't. But I don't, with this, I don't, try to. We all try to as guide. A lot of people try to advise. My friend said to me last night about advising him, and I said I'd never advise anybody anything. For me to advise somebody, I've got to think that there's a right or a wrong, and there is no right or wrong. There's only the truth, and then a choice.
So you are speaking your truth, while another sees that as teaching. How do you call it? Like
guidance? No, a lot of people think it's a judgment. A lot of people take it as a judgment or a deny. They deny it. It doesn't matter. But I can't advise. We can't advise anybody. I can't say to you, you should do this, because if I do, I'm judging what's right or wrong.
So, you give them your truth, your signs. It's up to them if it resonates in the now or not. But
it's the truth.
It's the truth. Well, in that moment, it's your truth because it's theirs. Maybe not yet because they are on another timeline layer. But that's fine. It's your truth.
Yeah. But if it's a fundamental truth, that actually...
But Lee, the fundamental truth is that we are all the ultimate truth is that we are all. That it's I am that I am, that it's like one field. I mean, I experience it. It's like I am all and I am. That's the ultimate. That's ultimate. It. That's divine source where we are.
That's metaphysical truth, fam. That's outside of experience. What I'm talking to is fundamental truth that I can show happens and repeat.
Yes. So in this realities where we are now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inside this temporal reality, inside this physics.
Yes.
So everybody experiences this. I can describe an experience from my past and you will recognize it because you've had it. I don't have to say this is what you did. You'll tell me that you did it because I'm not too.
Yes, but on not the same way. But on the end, it's all it's right. It's the same, but not the same. But
I don't speak about what I did. I speak about what it represented. So I speak about the energetics of what I did and put that into a picture, into a story. That will represent the story for you because you've experienced it too. Whether or not you've understood the experience, like I'm explaining it, is mute. It will register with you. You will either resonate with it, or it will impact you in a way where you will start to deny something or justify something. So it'll either be complete resonance or reasons why you did something and reasons why you're not that. And that shows me that there's the two, you know, you still got a disharmonic with it because you're personalizing and feeling it's judgmental and you need to deny it, or you're in complete concurrence. So it's either harmonic or disharmonic, and it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong with that. It's just, it shows itself. And I call this personalizing it. So when you personalize what I'm saying and need to defend something or state a different truth, not realizing it's the same, then we can explore that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But what we can say though is over the last year, how much more clarity, how clearer things have become. How do you feel about that? How much more secure, solid in your own truth? How much more trusting and much more faith you've got, and how much more you've released in the last year? What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely clearer and stronger, even that I always actually trusted my inner guidance, always from child on till the moment I went on my mission. So there will and is nobody outside me telling what to do if it doesn't resonate. So I will always, there is no question about it. If I hear something, it resonates or not, then it's for me not the truth. It's not for me to do. But that's like, it became stronger, you know? Yeah. So
But can you not see as well though? I've witnessed this with you, how you're trusting your inner, but that inner was showing you possibly a different reality. So the inner guidance, what I've witnessed in many is the inner guidance has been refined. What the inner guidance used to mean has a different meaning now. It's this, I must do this because this is what this tells me to do, has become, no, I see it slightly differently now. What this is telling me is something different. This is telling me I would do that. There's been a refinement process. It's not in your face, but I've seen that. So where you would be very, very resistant of something else before in your inner guidance, you've let that go. You know that the inner guidance didn't mean that. It meant something else. Can you see that? Can you see what I mean or not? Am I talking rambling?
no, I don't follow you in this one.
Okay.
I can only say that it's again so simply. It's just I always just follow what I feel. And you can say it.
When you drove to Denmark.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
See, there's a direct example there of you refining what that is.
Well, it was quite a struggle because I felt, indeed, that's a good example, because I felt I was being kidnapped against my own feeling, you know. I was like doing something that I didn't feel, and it was like very strong, so I had to go into it. But it still has to do with a layer of feeling that I would be close to the children if the lower timeline would collapse. So at that time, I mean, you know, time doesn't exist. And for me, when I left for the mission, I thought it would take 6 months, you know, and the truth will come out, and everybody would see, and we could be unite again, and, you know, in harmony. And in the meantime, we are 3 years further.
Oh, March 2020. March 20. I thought the same, 6 months.
Yeah, so so that time it was like I felt it was also close because there's happening so much. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to another country, but I always felt in my being that I would be here when it would happen. So that was a struggle there that I had to let go. And of course, everything is divine because the big truth didn't came out yet. And it's the same now. I feel we are so close by
Yeah.
that lower timeline collapse, by the moment that I feel like they will getting the truth and they will see, and we can just speak about it like we are speaking about things without that projection and that big opening in between. You know, like we can come more together and start to reunite and understand each other and harmonize in unconditional love. Because even if whatever you choose to do, that is your story, I don't think nothing of it. I still love you because this is your story, this is your experience. Everybody, you know, like, so
I
yeah,
don't,
bring it on.
I don't disagree with unconditional love. It's the way it's been taken. There's no disagreements with me. It's just how it's being
But
perceived. Um,
yes, but it's my way my way to describe that that love we all have, we all are. And when that's like hearts is opened and you feel that love for every soul of light, for every living soul, every little ant, every flower leaf on the ground, then it's like,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, then
So
even as, yeah.
let me just take you back 1 second. And this is what I mean by, I mean, this is where I'm nuanced. This is where I dig into the small bits and see at a larger scale. You said a minute ago that you, when you went to Denmark, you felt like you were being kidnapped. Right now, that was very, you know, if you went on your feelings, I'm being kidnapped, right? That was your truth. That had to be your truth. I am being kidnapped. Was
Describe the
I know,
situation, how I felt.
I know, I know,
Yeah.
I know. But what you had to do was refine that. So you
Yes.
took the I am being kidnapped and you said, no, I'm not.
No, of course not.
So, but
Yes.
if you went on feeling only, you wouldn't have gone. You had to refine, you had to put a consciousness into the feeling too. You had to redefine what that feeling was saying and
Yes.
take it forward. I am not being kidnapped. This is part of, and that was overwriting something. That was going against something. That was refining. That's what I mean by that.
Yes, it was against a feeling I had in that time to not leave yet. So, but I had to do it and go through it to realize
It wasn't
that
the end of the
everything is
world.
perfectly anyway. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't the end of the
So,
world. But nothing died.
no,
Nothing went wrong. Again, this is the same experience on every level. We always
yes,
test the water to make sure that it's not the end of the world. And when we realize it isn't, then we
yeah,
can submit. And you call it surrender. I call it trust. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
It's the same basics.
Yes, it's the same. Trust, surrender,
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
And you have to let all that other go and have the trust to let everything go and trust that everything will be come on divine timing when it needs to
That,
happen.
that base choice of I am not. The I am choice is always based on trust. It to make the I am choice, you have to trust, and you've got no confirmation. You just have to trust what it is that you know, what you believe to be the highest truth, as
Yeah.
opposed
And
to what you know, as opposed to
and
what you know.
for me, even the question is like funny, you know, it's like, of course, it's so annoying, always was annoying. Yeah, I am a multidimensional being. I am a and I'm just here now to experience this, to do this, and to, but
But I want to have fun. What does that
yeah,
mean?
in the meantime,
What does
in the
that even
meantime,
mean? I'm a
well,
multi-dimensional being, and this part of me wants to have fun now. I'm not gonna, and if I don't,
let's
I'm not
call
gonna
it,
be
yeah,
happy.
let's call it then not fun like in the old, but you have to have that feeling, so
Right.
you raise your energy and everything will flow. So yeah, and to do that, there are different ways, you know. I go in nature, others
Yeah.
put music on, or but
You have to
it's like,
you have to redefine fun. And again, with
yeah,
this is that unlearn, relearn. This is that redefinition. This is that recognition, reconciliation of energies. You have to take out the old energy and replace it with a new one. What does that look
yeah,
like? What does that look like?
yeah,
What
yeah,
we're
and
doing is
we don't know, we are experiencing the new because we never, or I don't have, when you go in it you will remember, but I
what
don't remember the full.
no, but what we're doing is describing the process. See,
Yeah,
we're describing what we've experienced, and I know that what we see, what we're doing is remembering. We're walking into our memory. We are remembering, right? But not all at once. And what some of us are doing is breaking it down and working out the mechanics of that remembering. And you can then go to what is it I'm going to remember? And this is what, as far as you can conceive. Well, if I am that, and then bring that back to you rather than stand here and this is all I've got to work with. No, it's not. There's an unconceivable amount out there. Work with that, but you don't know what it is yet. So what you do know is this, and this isn't the truth. This is a part of it. This is something that's happening, but it's not the truth. The truth is like there, and that hasn't even happened yet. So which one are you going to rely on? The one you think you know, or the one you don't? Again, it's fascinating.
Well, then, yeah, so you go back to that.
But you have to release it. So all of this is release. All of these experiences, although they do grow, they also release.
Yeah, you have to release it all.
Yeah, and the quicker that people can release and less resistance, the least they hold on to their truth, and the more they're willing to move into a higher truth. See, every day I try to change what it is that I know, not what I know, not the fundamentals. That you know, it doesn't change, but I try to raise that truth. I try. Where's the next one? I'm looking for the new pieces of wisdom, looking for the new truths, and each new truth that comes in leaves me with less truth than I had. So you look at you take something on board and it releases a load more. Okay. Yeah. And that becomes, you know, there's your joy and there's your fun, and there's, well, for me anyway, you know, you can find it walking around nature and really realizing that you are connected to everything and you are love. There's your new truth. There's your new truth. How much more can I add to this? And that's the beauty of all of this, and we're all doing it differently, but it's the same thing: release and uplift.
Yes. Yes.
There you go. I don't know what we've been talking. I don't know, about an hour and a quarter, fam. I think I've got to go anyway.
Yes.
But I've got no clue of what we've really now at this second. I don't really know what it is that we've talked about, or whether.
No, that's because it comes out of your heart and not from your head. That's like the beauty of it. It's like when we did that before, you know, it's like we stopped like the other ones. It's like, I don't even remember what I said. You know, it's like,
well, no clue. So let's call this one. Let's call this one, and we'll see. You know, we'll stop this one because I've got a meeting very shortly in 10 minutes. See what happens, and we'll see what comes up in the next while, because I think that there's quite a lot that we can dig into. And I think we're going to be shown divinely what that is, and it's up to us whether we have a chat about it, and I think we will. So what do you think about that, having a couple more of these again like we did last time, and maybe just making them more, you know, bang into what it is that we're talking about, rather than worrying about what's happening. Let's talk about what is really happening energetically, and what we can observe and assess without fear of what they say or what's being said. What do you think?
Yes, let's just
are you up for that?
Yeah, I go open like neutral, open and into the conversation, and we will see whatever comes up what needs to be spoken of will be spoken of. And so yeah, sure, let's see.
So it is.
Oh. I love you, Lee. Thank you for the share.
Love you so much, Beth. I'm going to stop this one now. We'll speak again.
Love or all souls of light.
Yeah, love everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.